Hey, Larken Rose here, and if you've ever heard any of my videos, you'll probably know that I hold various opinions or beliefs, or whatever you want to call them, and I'm rather vocal about them. Now, most of the world disagrees with some of my fundamental beliefs about government, namely that there should be no such thing, and there's no such thing as legitimate government. Some people agree with me on some things. A few people agree with me on almost everything. And that's fine and dandy. Whatever you think about my beliefs and my conclusions, and I have 8 million other videos to talk about those things, I have a question for you. Who do you think decides for me what I believe? Me. The answer is me. I decide. Now, you can say, well, I don't like your reasoning, or I think your evidence is this, or whatever. Feel free to argue with me. Feel free to have opinions and beliefs, or whatever you call it, that differ from mine. That's fine. This video is about the fact that the vast majority of people hold beliefs and opinions that they didn't come up with. They started with a loyalty to something else, or someone else, or some other organization or political party, and then what they believe is determined by what does the master say we believe today. And this is true of all Democrats, it's true of all Republicans, but right now Trump supporters are showing it to a kind of amazing degree. We're for lower taxes. Oh, he's out there saying that tariffs, which are taxes on Americans, are awesome. Now we're in favor of tariffs. Well, that's weird. When you were opposed to taxes, was it because you don't like ruling classes robbing people? Was it because you think people should be allowed to spend their own money? Whatever the reason was before, why would it change just because a politician said, no, now you should like massive tax increases? Most of the people who support Trump before would have said, we need to drastically reduce federal spending. And Trump drastically increased federal spending more than any other president in the history of the country. You can go look up the charts if you don't believe me. If you were against massive federal spending before, and then suddenly you were in favor of it, why? What logic, what evidence, what did you use to come to the conclusion that now massive increased spending is a good thing? Increased taxation in the form of tariffs is a good thing. Starting a war with Venezuela is a good thing. I could go down the list. It's a pretty long list, including a very obvious example. We got to get to the bottom of this Epstein thing and expose this and let the chips fall where they may, and anybody involved should be in prison. Oh, never mind, that was a hoax, and all you people should stop talking about Epstein. It's ridiculous, it doesn't matter anymore. Wow, why would anybody have gone from that first thing to that second thing? Why are so many Trump supporters, and this is often true of Democrats, too, who go rah-rah-rah for Obama when he's being a power-happy authoritarian war criminal. So it's not at all unique to Republicans, but right now, that is by far the most glaring example. Now suddenly, we like a dystopian police state with armed federales wandering around in the streets and arresting nonviolent people and throwing them into vans and whisking them away. Is that what you were for a few years ago? Because I seem to remember conservatives used to at least give lip service to the Constitution and things like due process. You don't get to do things to people just because government says they're bad people. We don't need proof. We don't need a trial. We don't need evidence. Isn't that what you believed 5 seconds ago? But in this video, I'm not even here to argue about whether your conclusion today is the right one. I'm here to point out if your conclusion today is way different than your conclusion and your opinion of a year ago, 10 years ago, whatever, why? Why is that? Is it because someone offered you different evidence? No, you know it isn't. Is it because, oh, there's some reasoning and logic you hadn't thought about before? No, it isn't that. It's because you're not thinking at all. Your thoughts and beliefs aren't coming from you. You are 100% functioning as a cult member whose loyalty to the dear leader that you're putting all your hope in matters way more than facts and evidence and logic and principles and whatever you believed before. It matters more to you than your own brain, than your own willingness to think for yourself. And I've never seen anybody demonstrate that as obviously as today's Trump supporters, who are not only cheering for things that they condemned 5 seconds ago, but they're just viscerally hating anybody who doesn't, especially the conservatives who didn't change their minds. The conservatives who before said, well, I believe this, and I believe in the due process, I believe in the Constitution. Whatever they believed in, whether you think that's right or not, some of the most zealous hatred coming out of MAGA is aimed at people who are saying today exactly what they said 10 years ago. Look at Thomas Massey, who's limited government constitutionalist, kind of, sort of conservative. Now he's a horrible person, just a terrible person. We have to get him out of office. Yeah, we have to get him out of office. He's saying exactly what you were saying 10 years ago. Why is that? Did someone persuade you with logic and reason that your former beliefs were flawed somehow? No. It's just that you're weak-minded sycophants of your cult leader, and that's all. And you can say, hey, that's not fair. Give me some other explanation for why you're cheering for things that you were condemning 5 seconds ago. And the only difference is that Mango Mussolini came out and told you, now it's good. Now that Epstein thing, it's all a hoax. It's a hoax. It's ridiculous. Besides, we should release it. Besides, no, we shouldn't. Besides, we already did. Besides, well, actually, we didn't. But besides, no, we should block that law saying we have to release it. Oh, it's not enforced by anything? We should support the law saying we have to release it. And then just ignore the law saying we have to release it was what we're doing now. And by the way, all you followers of me, go focus on those brown people over there who didn't do certain paperwork. Hate them. Not literally the powerful people who victimize children. Who, I mean, how much of the MAGA movement, more so than Trump, at the beginning were like, we're going to get all those horrible pedos and predators and we're going to put them in prison. Now, not only is that not your focus, you hate the people who are still focused on that. And who are saying, why are you covering up for the Epstein stuff? Bongino, you traitorous piece of crap. Kash Patel, you traitorous piece of crap. Bondi, you lying sack of crap. Why are you all actively covering up heinous crimes against children? The people still saying that, who were saying that when they were excitedly voting for Trump the first time, are now getting condemned and attacked the hardest by both Trump and his sycophantic cult followers. And I don't say cult followers lightly. What I am describing is exactly and precisely the fundamental nature of a cult, where your attachment to some charismatic personality, now how the hell anyone can think Trump is charismatic or an alpha male is beyond me, but setting that aside, your loyalty to your savior, your leader, that is 100% the cult loyalty. And the dead giveaway is if he changes his mind and you change with him, you have no control over your own mind. You're not deciding what you believe. You're just hitching your wagon to this power-happy, crooked, slimeball, warmonger, serial predator, heinous person, so much so that he can say anything and you'll agree with him and yeah, we don't need the Constitution anymore. Now dystopian police state in American streets, no, that's great. Oh, he believes in take guns first, go through due process second? Okay, well, you must have reason to think that. Look at your belief system. If you are a Trump supporter today, this is indisputable. There's one reason, which is you have a cult-style attachment to that personality, and that personality is really damn creepy. So I would be way more understanding of somebody having like a cult connection to somebody who at least sounds more enthusiastic and charismatic, and like the people who killed themselves in the whole Jim Jones catastrophe. I would have sympathy for them. They're ignorant. They fell for BS. But ignorant people, I could imagine them falling for that. If you're falling for Trump as if he's the savior, he's the strong man, that's an amazing degree of pathetic. But be that as it may, regardless of how much of a cool alpha male masculine role model you think he is, just wow, what's wrong with you? It is absolutely indisputable that people now supporting Trump are absolutely arguing directly against things they believed at the beginning. That is indisputable. It's on almost literally every single issue. Now starting wars is great. Now raising taxes is great. Now federal spending is great. Now handing out socialist handouts is great. Trump demanded that his name be on the biggest socialist handout in the history of the world. You're like, yeah, he's finally giving back. Did any of you say that when a Democrat government was trying to buy people's loyalty with stolen loot? Handing out taxpayer-funded handouts and socialist BS? No, you all condemned it. Well, now, and I've seen Trump, I'd say, no, he's not giving handouts. He's giving us back some of, in other words, you want to describe it differently because the things you believed before were based on just weak nothing in your brain compared to the strength that this one individual has over you. You're just his little blindly obedient cult bitches. I don't know a nice way to put it. You are so weak-minded and so pathetic that whatever he says, you'll make an excuse for cheering for it and supporting it. Even when he told you that, I could shoot somebody in Times Square or whatever he said, and they wouldn't lose any votes. He might lose a few, but any supporters he has now, that may very well be true at this point. And he told you that. He can lie, he can change his position constantly, which he does all the time. He doesn't bother hiding it. And anybody still following him, you can't even pretend that you have a philosophical foundation to agree with him anymore. You can't. Because none of you did. None of you were openly saying when this started, you know, we're going to vote for Trump because we need to start more wars. We need to commit more war crimes. We need to ignore the Fourth Amendment more often and the Fifth Amendment. We need a dystopian police state. We need federales randomly harassing people on the streets of U.S. We need to throw posse comitatus out the window and have troops on the ground in U.S. cities for no good reason. None of you were saying that. None of you believed that. So every single person making excuses for it today is an absolute weak-minded sycophant cult follower of an absolute slimeball. So it's not just that your conclusions are wrong, which they are. It's not just that you're unprincipled bootlickers, which you are. It's that you're such mental cowards, you don't even take on the responsibility of deciding what you believe. You've handed that over to that absolute slimeball. And that makes you the ultimate betas, the ultimate just cowards, and just pathetic followers of, I'm going to do whatever you say, master. You think like slaves, 100%. Your loyalty is to an absolute slimeball. It's not to any principle. It's not to the Constitution. It's not to any actual coherent philosophy, not even a bad one. It's just to that personality that you thought, if we worship this guy, he'll save you. And that's just pathetic. I mean, even if he actually gave what might be a persuasive speech and push to ignorant people, it would still be pathetic. But he doesn't. He changes every 5 seconds. He causes catastrophe after catastrophe, and you all make excuses for it and follow along. And thankfully, by now, a bunch of conservatives are like, okay, wait, this is getting too bonkers. Like, yeah, we're super scared of the Democrats and stuff, but, I mean, are there no limits to the bonkers crap we're going to cheer for? And the answer is, for anybody still following Trump, there are no limits to the bonkers crap they're going to fall for, because he's changed on literally everything, and every single person who followed him did it just because Big Daddy Trump told them to, and they don't know how to think. They don't have control of their own minds. They're just emotionally driven, sad little mental slaves of a narcissistic megalomaniac. I mean, I guess it's a good thing that that's so obvious at this point, that anyone with a trace of reason or logic can now see that. But it's still pretty gross to look at. All those people that weak-minded, that easy to manipulate and control and own. Because if you still support Trump at this point, you view him as your owner and you like that arrangement. And that's just pathetic.